the Resian mag got to like 130k if they were
Oh,
cheesy. Oh
Chili
god.
Wow.
So, ESO's PvP event, Whitestrake's Mayhem, is gonna start soon. In fact, you might be watching this while it's already happening. It's probably one of the most controversial events that ESO has, simply because of the large amount of players that absolutely despise PvP in this game, but feel forced to partake in it in order to receive their daily event tickets. If that sounds like you, I have some resources in the description to help you get tickets during the event. Love it or hate it, you can't deny the fact that Whitestrakes is always a great event for earning gold. I found that ESO PvPers are kind of like housing enthusiasts, in the sense that they're willing to drop some absolutely insane amounts of gold for the items that they're looking for. For example, the other day, a PvPer asked me if I could craft them some white quality Dragon's Appetite gear. So I did, and then they tipped me, get this, 3 chromium platings and 1 million gold. Like, what? Shout out to this dude, holy. In this video, we'll focus on some excellent sets to sell during this event to earn lots of gold with information that is updated to accommodate to the current PvP meta. As a general piece of advice for those looking to sell items to PvPers, especially if you yourself are not one, it's typically a good idea to keep up with popular PvP trends by watching PvP content creators or streamers to see what kind of sets they run and recommend to their audiences. Whether or not these sets are entirely meta or best in slot is a whole other discussion that is ultimately kind of irrelevant. The fact of the matter is that a lot of players look to ESO content creators for build advice. Thus, these creators have a significant influence over the demand for certain gear sets, and likewise, their prices. Be mindful of what sets they recommend to know what exactly to sell. Craftable PvP sets are nice because they're not only fairly accessible for those that have invested in their character's crafting skills, but they also allow you to be flexible with armor weights so that you can truly min-max your build. For example, most PvPers prefer to run heavy armor chests and reinforced, and sometimes even heavy legs, seeing as the chest piece is the largest piece of armor with the greatest armor rating. PvPers also prefer to run light armor belts, usually in impen, to sneak some light armor passives into their builds without compromising too much of their build's resistances. Keep these notions in mind when crafting PvP gear to sell. If you can, try to sell at least purple quality gear, or gold quality if you have the materials to spare. If you're unsure about whether it's worth golding out an item to sell, consider listing it at purple quality first. If you're selling your purple quality gear really quickly, it may be worth golding it out to subsequently increase the listing price of your gear. I'd recommend the following sets to sell. Dragon's Appetite synergizes nicely with classes and builds that lean on bleed damage over time, which is why you'll often see it worn by dot sorks or werewolves, or even DKs. Order's Wrath is the go-to bread and butter set and forget front bar offensive set. Two-handed axes or dual-wield axes would be sought after to complement the crit damage for this set. Wretched Vitality is a great craftable defensive set option for those that need some resource sustain. Daedric Trickery is another great defensive option, although, like Wretched Vitality, the market is quite saturated with this set. Overland sets can be acquired by completing Overland content, such as killing world bosses, delve bosses, public dungeon bosses, and opening chests. Way of Fire has been quite good for a while now, but it is only now being recognized as an excellent set by enough players that the prices have finally reflected this notion. Many have gravitated towards using Way of Fire with the Master's dual-wield front bar and Vadishan Destro back bar to complement their dot-intensive builds. If you come across a reinforced chest of the Fire, you've basically won the lottery. This set has been used by some gankers, hence why select weapons and gear in Divines is pricier than the rest of the set. It's also bugged at the moment, so it's unsurprising to hear that gankers are running it, am I right, fellas? Speaking of gankers, plenty of goons like to run Swamp Raiders as well, a set that adds weapon and spell damage to your poison and disease abilities. This set is perfect for those that prefer to not PvP, but rather spam snipe 30 meters away from a target, especially if that target's on a mount. What? No, I'm not speaking from personal experience, I have no idea what you're talking about. Robes of the Hist is a great defensive set option that some players will use on their back bar for healing. Once Mara's Rest and Piss next patch, many will be gravitating towards supplementing their builds with Hist sap. Players often prefer to use a piece or two of trainee gear when they incorporate mythics and monster sets or arena weapons in their builds. The light armor trainee sash is an excellent seller. These sets can be acquired through means that are related to PvPing, such as through rewards for the worthy coffers, which appear in your mailbox every time you earn 20k AP, or from gear coffers that can be purchased in Cyrodiil towns or at your Alliance Gate. I swear to Oriel, everyone and their mother's dog is wearing Mara's. It'll be nerfed significantly next patch, although many PvPers have suggested that it'll still be a fairly strong defensive set option. It just won't be absolutely cracked anymore. I'm gonna be honest with you, Chief. I'm not sure why Potentates has made its way back into the limelight lately, but it has, the data doesn't lie. Potentates has always complemented ulti-gen builds nicely. I could see it being used in place of other filler sets like Trainee when used in combination with Mythics, like an Oakensole build perhaps. Elfbane is unfortunately making a resurgence in Cyrodiil, seeing as a lot of players that prefer to siege have taken to using it to buff the duration of their siege dots. Next time I succumb to a coldfire dot that felt like it was ticking on me for an eternity, I'll die happy, knowing that I took that gamer's wallet with me. Unsurprisingly, Vicious Death is a set that experiences an increase in demand during PvP events in light of all the players looking to bomb inexperienced PvPers for AP, Telvar, and clips for the bombing compilation set to base boosted drill rap that they upload to YouTube. Plaguebreak is another goated anti-zerging set. Just about every piece of this set is valuable, from weapons to body pieces, especially if they're in the ideal traits. Rallying Cry has been an excellent defensive and offensive set since it came out. Rallying Cry ice staves in particular can sell for a small fortune. Deadly Strike has been a classic for years. Players that run builds that deal a lot of damage over time have used and recommended the set for a while now. Those are a handful of sets that you should consider selling to players this Midyear Mayhem, and perhaps— oops, I called it Midyear Mayhem. Those are a handful of sets that you should consider selling to players this Whitestrake's Mayhem, and perhaps even after the fact, should you find some success in doing so. But you'll definitely want to take advantage of the increased demand for sets during PvP events for sure. Okay, that's about it for this video. I hope you gamers can make lots of gold during this event, and hopefully have lots of great fights as well. If you hate PvP, I recommend getting out there with friends or guildies to make the experience more enjoyable, even if you get absolutely packed out there. ESO PvP is too damn broken and buggy to take super seriously, in my opinion, so have fun out there. Just don't teabag me after you zerg me down with your 50-man AP small scale, or I'll have no choice but to report you to ZOS. I'm just kidding. Unless. Thank you for watching the video, and thank you to my YouTube members for their extremely generous support, and I will see you gamers in the next video. Until then, cheers.